The idea of cultural appropriation is absolute nonsense. So that's that. There's no difference between cultural appropriation and learning from one another. They're the same thing. Now that doesn't mean that doesn't mean that there's no theft between people. There is. You know, and it doesn't mean that just because you encounter someone else's ideas, you have an immediate right to those ideas as if they were your own. But the idea that manifesting in your own behavior some element of another culture, the idea that that's somehow immoral is insane. It's actually one of the bases of peace. You know, one of the things that the various groups of human beings that exist have to offer each other is the tremendous value of their culture. You know, it's been really interesting to me, for example, to watch the response of everyone, but for this argument, for young Caucasian males to hip-hop. You know, there's an aggressiveness about hip-hop that's really attractive to young Caucasian males, and there's something absurd about the spectacle of the young Caucasian males taking on the persona of inner-city black gang members. You know, but I'm sympathetic to it because there's an aggressiveness to that art form that's a necessary corrective to the insistence that the highest moral virtue for a modern man is harmlessness, which is absurd. Women don't even like harmless men. They hate them. They like to claw them apart. You know, what women want are dangerous men who are civilized. And they want to help civilize them. Right? That's Beauty and the Beast. So, you know, I'll tell you a funny story, and only engineers could have come up with this because they're the only ones that have the unparalleled blindness to social convention that would allow them to discover it. So the Google engineers, I like engineers by the way, because they're very straightforward. The Google engineers wrote a book a while back called A Billion Wicked Thoughts, which was a study of internet searches, billions of them, literally. And they were looking a lot at pornography use. And well, there's lots known about male pornography use, partly, and it's easy to understand. I mean, males are, you know, pretty visually oriented, and what attracts them to pornography is fairly straightforward. You can tell that if you look at graffiti in a men's washroom. You know, it's like 2 circles and a triangle, and the men are absolutely transfixed by it. So, for women, the story is more complex. They use pornography too, but it tends to be literary because women tend to like words more than they like visual stimuli. And so the Google guys tried to track down the archetypal structure of, well, they didn't use those words, of female pornography use. And so some of you know, how many of you know what a harlequin romance is? Okay, good. So those are archetypal stories, right? That's the taming of the wild man, essentially, by the desirable and virginal woman. And if you think women don't want that, then you better bloody well come up with an explanation for 50 Shades of Grey, right? Which is the most rapid-selling novel in human history, and emerged at exactly the same time that all of this noise about the absence of gender roles is being produced, you know, en masse. It's like perfect female fantasy. It's exactly archetypally correct. It's Beauty and the Beast. So what the Google guys showed was the structure of Beauty and the Beast, although they didn't use that as a referent, that the female pornographic fantasy was wild guy, you know, somewhat careless about the wants and desires of others, attractive to everyone, therefore high status, tamed by the magic of a single woman and brought into a relationship with her. Okay, so, but here's the comical part. This just made me laugh, man. It was like, what were the 5 categories of most desirable male entity used most broadly in female pornography? Oh, it's so embarrassing. Women, you have to cover your head while I say this. Vampire, werewolf, billionaire, surgeon, and pirate.